Come one, come all, come bear witness to what is going to be a fantastic game. Tonight, we are going to be participating in the Overwatch Pretenders Upper Division Summer 2020 semifinal. I am your play by play caster, Septilence, and I am here with my good friend and color caster, Jag.
Hello and good evening, everyone. What a great game we have to you, as Septon said. One of the semifinals we're going to have to determine who's going to play in the grand finals of the upper division. It's been quite a summer season here at Pretenders, and we're ready to wrap it up. But we got a little bit to go before we get there. We've got the number 2 seed Wash, the previous champions, going up against number 3 seed One Entity. And it's really interesting because even though Wash were the champions previously, One Entity and Wash played, and Wash got 4-0'd by One Entity.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to look good for them here, as One Entity is looking like they're going to come out on top. But we've seen it before. We've seen the teams that we expect to lose really being able to climb out of those ruts and come out on top of the enemy team. So things could really go either way here.
Yeah, absolutely. I can. Wash has that prior experience, and One Entity does have that game that they won very decisively. But that's the regular season. That's not now. Playoffs, a whole different ball game, whole new stage for everyone to shine. So I still think Wash honestly has kind of the advantage just by having the higher seed and the better records. So they do have the advantage. They do get to pick the first map, and we are going to be doing a hybrid first. Usually we see control, but it is the Overwatch Pretenders special that we start on hybrid. So it's gonna be really interesting to kind of start off with a different pace.
Absolutely. Starting on a hybrid can make a massive difference between these two teams. And like you always mentioned, that the team that is considered the lower seed or possibly going to perform worse will perform better on those control maps. So to see us start off with something else, it's really going to be difficult for us to see which team's going to be better here.
Yeah, and I think that we talked about control a lot in our previous cast. It's kind of the map that the less skilled team can win more easily, just because of the way it's designed. It's kind of just two teams always brawling. There's always a fight going on. Where a lot of these payload maps are just kind of, they have a lot more strategy involved. You kind of have to plan where you want to strike. You got to choose, like, especially if you're on the defense, where to hold. If you want to go early, you want to hold back and wait for a later defense. On attack, you send people up and you hope that one person can push the cart all the way. But we are going to be going to King's Row first, a classic in the Overwatch community.
Yeah, something that we see. We always call that comfort map, that comfort pick from all players. Kings Row, a very, very common thing to see in a defense, just as common. Right now, we see Slow and Game Boy. Oh, they were running the Ryan Zarya, but Slow has already swapped off. Jag, we've seen a lot of meta shifts lately. Do you think we're going to see anything crazy come out of these teams?
I mean, I think Gorus is dead in the water, especially if this last nearly as strong with that 50 health nerf. So just not as much way to stay alive, not as many ways to keep your team, up in it, and you can't really do the pull Dragon Strike or the pull, dash because it just doesn't get as many people. So I think we're just going to see brawl. Now the question is, will we see Ryan Zarya or Ryan Sigma? And I think we're going to see variation from both of these teams.
Yeah, Orion Zarya, a very common pick on this map. It has been since the day this map was released in the game, and it's something that we've seen over and over. But a lot of people have been talking recently about how Sigma is going to be dead in the water, like you said, will be floating there next to Orisa. So if we see good Sigma gameplay come out, that really could confuse quite a few people.
I think just I think Sigma's just still valuable. I mean, he did get nerfed, so he did, he has a higher cooldown, and I think his shield isn't as good, but it's still better than the Zarya bubble, in my opinion. But they do have an Ana on the side of Big Juice, so they don't have anything to cleanse it. We're going to see Washed on defense first, One Entity on their attack. Let's see if the Ryan Sigma comp can overpower the Ryan Zarya.
Ryan Zarya is going to come up here. We're going to see a rotation around the right side of the statue, a very common engagement in these ranks, but it's going to be the double shield versus kind of the modified Ryan Zarya, so it's going to be difficult for both these teams to find a lot of value, but with Joker on that Junkrat, we are going to see a lot of value coming out just from playing that hero in such a closed-off point. It's going to be really easy for them to continuously bully the defending team here, but the attackers having the high ground as well is not going to look good for our defenders. You never want to give up the high ground for free. We're going to see a trap come out from Joker on the high ground, kind of follow their backline, and just like that, Extra Sharp is going to be able to find Game Boy out. It's going to be the Sigma taking out the Zarya. I Give Up Now is going to drop very low, but Joker is going to find Big Juice in the process. Existence is able to take out Hero Man, but it's going to be just way too late. The Immortality Field gone from Grimhammer as well. Already 70% of that window. Both Immortality Fields now off the point, as Existence is a mere 2 2% away from getting a window of their own. Joker already 90% to this Tire, and Tire is a game-winning fight. The window comes out from existence the second it's able to. A tick already off the point. Joker still has that Tire holding onto it. We're going to hear the Tire now come out from Joker. It's connected through the hotel into the back line. Looks like it is going to be able to pick up existence as Slow is taken out by that Sigma once again. The second tick is going to come to an end. It's going to be a very cleaned up fight as Joker was able to eliminate that main support, and just like that, our attackers have already capped first.
Yeah, we're going to see Existence swap off of the map onto the Lucio, so they're going to be playing a little bit more brawly. So there's two things, personally, I'm really surprised about. I'm surprised about the Genji, because although Genji's alright, Genji's actually in their spawn right now. He might get staggered out really bad. Pigapants has to be really careful. He might just hide behind and wait, but also, I'm really surprised about the fact of how long that took, honestly, one entity to clean that up. And I think that really came down to the fact that Hero Man got antied and then charged in, and then they didn't have their Rhine, so they weren't able to push up. But here is the Blade.
The Blade is going to come out. It's going to be an immediate pickup onto that Ashe. Make that a triple kill in the blink of an eye. Pegapants is able to pick up half of the team on their own with an incredibly timed Blade. Just like that, our defenders are going to come back out on top. We're going to see a very quick turnaround. A lot of ultimates online for our attackers. Our defenders only really have that Shatter, but both Grav and Bob are very close behind. We've talked about it time and time again. This is what we always consider to be point 1.5, as many teams get stalled right here. And if our defenders are able to cycle their ultimates effectively, they will be able to hold on to this point for very long.
Yeah, and I was just talking trash about the Genji, but the Nano Blade was really what carried that fight. But now so many ults on the side of one entity. Wash only has the Shatter to work with, and they're probably just going to get backed up. It's really hard for them to push into this double shield comp.
Yeah, it's hard to engage. Oh, and just like that, Slow's Shatter is going to be blocked, but Harrowment is going to be blocked to boot. The Sigma ult coming out immediately behind is able to pick up 5, so it's going to do a lot of damage. Going to be able to find a double kill. Both Slow, Big Juice, and now Game Boy have fallen, so our attackers go insanely quick to move in, and it's going to be very quick. Like I said, they really committed only 2 ultimates there, and they are able to continue engaging. We see Bob online. Lucio almost has the beat, but is taken out. Pegapants is able to take out the Ashe as well. It's going to be 3 ultimates versus 2 ultimates. If the Existence can get the beat online, it can be a fight winner, but it looks like they are going to have to give up this second point for free.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a Genji and Lucio 1v1 right now, and you would think they'd be trying to contest, but here is the Bob coming out for that
Bob's going to come out, yeah, more to contest than to do damage. It's going to be charged off the point by Harrowman, and they're both able to make it onto the point. Immortality Field's gone from Grimhammer. The grab comes out from Game Boy as the beat comes out from Existence as well. The attackers have a lot of value here. A lot of ultimates are being used on them, and this fight is not over yet. Game Boy is taken out by Joker and the Tire. The window comes out from Grimhammer as well. I Give Up is now halfway to another Bob as they find Big Juice. We hear the Blade come out from Pega, and Slow is able to hit a relatively large Shatter, but it looks like Pega is going to do the heavy carrying once again on a very large Blade. It's able to pick up a third of the team, but will be taken out by Joker. A lot of ultimates used, but our defenders are just barely able to win that fight for the skin of their team here.
Yeah, and like you said, they are living by that Blade. Pigapant's kind of just doing a lot of flank damage, and it's working. You know, I'm surprised they're able to touch just in time. That Blade, not even with the Nano, is still able to carry enough of a distraction for Slow to get a nice Shatter. So all the economies kind of switched. They're a lot used. Right now, Big Juice does have that Nano, so they're probably going to be looking to put it on Slow, build up that Shatter again. But Harrowman does have his Shatter almost online.
Yeah, and if Harrowman can hit a big Shatter here, it can be disastrous for our defenders, but the attackers are looking to tie things up right now and push it into the second point. If they can get a single pick, it can be massive for them, but Slow is able to block the Shatter coming out from Harrowman, so it's going to be great. Slow now has a Shatter coming online much faster. The Nano does go onto the Reinhardt, but it's not going to matter quite yet as I Give Up is able to take out Pigapants with a well-timed melee kill. We're going to see a lot of ult charge coming through on both teams, and both Rein to Rein here just trying to eliminate one of them. Slow is stunned out of the Shatter by Extra Sharpie. Very unfortunate to see. That's now 2 Shatters back-to-back that have gotten 0 value, but the Sigma ultimate now going to come online. Joker has the Tire as well. Grim holding onto that hammer once again, so our attackers have many more ultimates to work with. We're going to hear the ult combo come out. Beat has been forced from existence here. It's going to be able to negate entirely of the Sigma ult, but Joker's going to pick up a triple kill. A triple Tire takes out half the defending team. A Bob comes out from its bat way too late in the fight. A bit of a waste of an ultimate there, but with a massive Tire coming out from Joker, that's going to be a free second point cap.
Yeah, and I mean, the combination of Extra Sharpie and Joker's Tire was perfect. You know, using the Flux to get the B out, because B is a great counter to Tire, but you got to time it just right. You do it too early, and, you know, everyone dies anyway. You do it too late, and you don't even get it off, but they were able to get the beat out. Joker's able to wait patiently, and that was a huge 3-man Tire as they're on the third point right now.
2.5 minutes in the time bank, and they are not even to the end of the map, so their time bank not looking fantastic, but in an escort map, all you really need to do is finish with any time in the bank. So if they're able to finish the 0.01 seconds on the clock. It will guarantee them extra rounds if they need it. We're going to see the grab come out, but nothing else is really there to clean things up quite yet. Pegapants and Gameboy are able to pick up each a kill of their own. Pegapants going to pick up another kill with the Blade, make that 2 more. Right now, just every single Blade from this Genji has been massive. I agreed with you early on that Genji, kind of a weird pick in the current meta we're seeing, but right now, Pegapants just getting massive time and time again.
If it works, it works. But Pegapants using the Blade at the end, I know that they were nanos, so maybe they just didn't want to waste the Blade, but they already got 2 on the side of Wash. Wash had gotten 2 on the side of one entity, so they were already up in that fight. They did get the Bob out, but we do see that they're going to swap to the Doomfist now, so very interesting.
Yeah, Doomfist pick, definitely a risky one, a very high risk, high reward. Hero is able to pick up 2 with the Shatter, but they were too far away for the team to really get any kinds of value. Heroman was booped into Pegapants and ended up picking him because of it, so very unfortunate to see. I'm not sure what the boop was, but it did end up getting their teammate killed. Joker is able to take out Slow as well, and right now, our attacking team right back into that rolling. Heroman picks up its bat with another charge kill back-to-back, so right now the Doomfist not really getting a lot of value, but the rest of the team finally coming to life here.
Yeah, Pegapants gonna be taken out, but they weren't on the cart for a little bit, so I think they actually had time to cap. But here is the Flux coming out. Will it be enough for the Flux 9? Not gonna find anyone, and the Shatter not gonna find anyone as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 ultimates out. Joker's gonna have to hit another massive tire, but Existence had the beat online much faster, so its bets Bob is going to take out that tire. The beat is online from Serrated as well. Big Juice now has that nano. Pegapants only 15% away from that Blade. If another big Blade comes from Pegapants, that's gonna be a 2-point cap for the attackers because they will not get through another Blade like that.
They do have the beat, but Big Juice has the nano, so Nano Blade usually beats beat unless somehow they can dupe him around and keep him away. I mean, the Doomfist could be kind of in charge of babysitting the Genji, but I don't know if they have enough coordination for that, and that's all they have right now. They almost have the square, but it's not going to be enough.
Like you said, the square not going to be quite enough. We're going to hear beat finally come off from Existence, but that Nano Blade is going to do a lot more damage. Even one pick here could be disastrous, and Gameboy is able to take out Joker, but Heroman takes out Pega as well. I gave up now on the Doomfist, gets the uppercut kill onto Slow, but will be taken out by Gameboy moments later. Extra Sharpie already 25% away from another Gravitic Flux, but Heroman has another Shatter online. Hits the Shatter onto both Gameboy and Existence, ends up pinning the Diva, forcing her into that Baby Diva positioning here. But overtime has now begun to tick away. Slow and It's Bad are able to pick up kills.
Bastion
Are now on this play as Pegapants is now on the emergency Bastion. You said it best. You're able to pick up a double kill in the end of the final moments here. Picks the Bastion and it works perfectly. A very risky thing to see, but it worked out wonderfully.
Oh, the GR in chat from Pegapants, you know, just to be like, hey, you saw my Bastion. You saw my Genji too. It worked out pretty well, huh? And, you know, one entity actually had plenty of chances to cap that in. The 2 times I specifically saw, they just C9 after the Shatter near the end of that, and then before when they had cleared the point. Both times, I think they would have at least gotten right to the end, if not actually capped. And now they've only gotten 2 points, so not a full cap. There's no overtime rounds here. Wash knows their win condition, and, you know, they looked pretty clean there, even though they did give up a lot of King's Row on their defense.
Absolutely. I agree. There was quite a few times we saw they were more kill hungry than they were point hungry. They got a big Shatter. Everybody was off point, but then they moved in to get the eliminations rather than to push that cart that final couple of meters, and that may be what costs them this map. We are still going to have to see a very good attack coming from one entity, and that is something that is very, very likely. But right now, Wash looks like they're getting ready to end King's Row and bring it home pretty quick.
Yeah, we are going to see the Orisa come out, which is pretty shocking, honestly. I mean, I know we see her in Overwatch League a little bit, but you gotta remember that I don't think the Orisa patch has gone through, so she still has 450 health so far. I don't know how this is gonna work. Slow is on the Wrecking Ball, don't think they're gonna keep that, but they might be trying to go for kind of a hybrid dive. If they do, they do have the Diva. They liked her at the end of that round, so maybe Gameboy's gonna keep it going with that.
Yeah, the hybrid dive looking kind of weird. They've got pretty much a half dive, half not dive. As Slow's on the Reinhardt, they're going to run a Rein Diva, which has not been meta since after Goats was eliminated. But it's going to be an unusual comp, but they're going to go for it around the right side of the statue, like we say, a very common strategy. But our current defenders are going to be much more grouped up. One entity is able to get a lot of high ground advantage the same way they did on their attack. It's going to be a very slow burn fight. It's going to be whichever team gets that elimination first is really going to be able to capitalize on this attack. But Joker now on the defensive May could be a game changer. It's going to be much more difficult for the attackers to move in particular to these small corridors, as a single wall could really end the entire push. But it looks like they are going to go for the rotation anyway. Slow now in the back line, trying to get even a charge kill. Is able to pick up a double kill on Serrated and Joker with the charge. Already 70% to a Shatter, dealing insane amount of damage. Make that 80% to a Shatter already. Slow is just on a rampage right now. He's able to take out half of the team, swinging great supports to keep him alive there. Big Juice farmed an entire nano off of that Reinhardt, and it's going to take them a little bit longer, but they are going to be able to cap this first point in their first engagement.
Yeah, we're seeing that the Ashe is left alive, and obviously you're gonna die. It's game over for you for this life, but you can live, on the point and make it the time being not as good for Wasp. Instead, they have a much better timing than One Entity had when they started their attack. We are gonna see One Entity play pretty aggressive defense here. They are gonna be down the Ashe, but the Moira did get a pick on the Genji, so gonna be pretty close to that call. They do have the Bob online, which is very unfortunate because Ashe is dead right now, but they have the Nano and the Shatter on the side of Wash, so you might see where this is going. Blade not too far behind.
Yeah, Blade not far behind. If Bob's thrown out, it could be a game changer, but Pegapant's going to pull that out super quick. Going to be a big shatter from Slow as well. It's able to pick up two there. Slow does find Harrowman, and Pegapant is going to find a triple kill on both supports and the Mei. I Give Up is able to take out its bats, but far too late in the fight. The ultimate is not going to come online anytime soon, but Existence is going to take out I Give Up and send them back to spawn. It's going to be the first team kill of the game, actually. So the entirety of our attackers have been eliminated. One entity has to walk back from spawn, but Wash is going to get just as aggressive. They're going to try to get this second point cap very early on.
That was a great fight for them. They did use a lot. They only have the beat and the bomb going to the next fight, and there's going to be a lot online for One Entity. The only problem is if they get picked by this Genji, and we've seen Pegapants do a really great job on the off angle, and this is almost being capped on second point. They're doing a great job on offense so far.
Absolutely, their offense being a lot stronger than their defense that we saw leading up to this. Pegapants takes out Harrowman straight away, and the Blizzard gets eaten by Game Boy. That's going to be a fight ender right there. Immortality Field now off the map. Joker's ultimate is now gone with the wind, and just like that, they're getting 3 meters away from Cap. We're going to see a bomb fly out, and it's going to be pretty small there. Pegapants is going to pick up Serrated as well. Joker now falling to Idspat. The attackers have so many less ultimates, but they're now all going to come online. Our defenders have 3 ultimates online. Our attackers only have 2 important ones. Sights could be online too, but when you know where everybody is, that doesn't do much. They've got 5 minutes to not even completely cap this third point. Things are looking phenomenal for Washed right now.
Yeah, it looked for a second that Solo was looking for a flank shatter, decided not to, instead gonna play with his team, and right now it's just not looking good. I just want to say Big Juice has been insane with these anti-nades so far, carrying the team, and here's another Nano Blade.
Another Nano Blade out the gate. Immortality Field already gone. Slow picks up a triple shatter. It's going to help clean up our defenders here. Oh, the Gravitic Flux now taken out by Idspat as well. I Give Up doing their best to frag, but they cannot win this 1v6 on the Ashe. As mentioned, she is dead, so Game Boy is going to take out Joker as well. Slow finds Serrated, and my god, 4.5 minutes on the clock, and it is over. Wash takes Kings Row home.
Yeah, Wash just looks, much more put together with their strategy. As you said, we don't see the Ryan Diva very often, and you were like, oh yeah, the bomb didn't get a lot. Well, let me tell you something, mister. As a former off-tank player, that's a zoning bomb, and it did its job. Everyone backed up. The wall was perfectly there. I think they actually kind of cut themselves off of the wall, so it did its job. They just couldn't touch in the end, and the Moira was killed, and then second point was taken, and then from there it was just a roll. And look at Big Juice. 16 nano boost assists, 6 nano boosts applied, and as a current flex support player, my heart just goes out to them because Pegapants is getting it done, but you can't get it done without your Ana pocketing you.
Absolutely. Big Juice, bigger heels. That was fantastic play we saw there from Big Juice, and Washed as a whole. Like you said, just so much more put together than one entity. They brought an unusual team comp out, but they took it and they ran with it. That was the fastest Kings Row cap I've seen in months.
It just seems like they knew whenever they were going to use the blade, they were going to shatter as well, and you saw that when Eddie would just kind of turn around. Harrowman probably trying to protect his team, or maybe hit a shatter on the Genji to get him down, but when he was doing that, Slow was just right there to get that hammer down, and that's why we saw all those big shatters.
Every time we saw a blade come out from Pega, yeah, I mean, Harrowman just looked straight up with the shield, and it was free ground for Slow to hit those shatters time and time again. We are going to be moving into our control map, which, as mentioned, is what the worst team usually does better on, and that's by no means an insult to one entity, but this may be their time to shine here.
Yeah, I mean, just like as we talked about at the very beginning of the game, the way it's played is just so different than something like Kings Row, where it's, a hybrid map, so you get a little bit of assault and escort combined together. This is just literally 2 teams always at each other's throats the entire time, and we saw that one entity likes to play aggressive. It just seems like they played a bit too aggressive, where they lost sight of the objective. We talked about a lot of that on the attack that they had, and multiple chances to cap and multiple chances to get the payload a bit farther, and just kind of were a bit too kill hungry. Wash seemed to play it perfectly, where they had people up front, but they always had someone on point, so that payload was always moving. I mean, that first fight right under where we talk about 1.5, they had the on it the entire time. And I was like, oh, like, well, they're not going to get as much progress, and they got a lot of ults out, so that's a good fight for an entity. And then I just see the cart immediately move past, the screen, like where they were. So in the end, it wasn't a good fight for one entity because they lost someone very early on that defense, and they just weren't able to hold anywhere. They just got ran through.
Yeah, they really did, like you said, just get completely ran through. The offense coming from Washed was just unmatched completely. Things were fantastic to see there. But as we are going to move into our control point, it's going to be Lijiang Tower, and Ryan Diva may not work out as well for them here as it did on that last map.
I mean, the thing about control just in general is, it's a very interesting map type because each point is very different. There's a lot of different strategies you can run. For Legion, specifically on Garden, we like to see dive a lot, maybe a pharmacy. On Night Market, you can kind of see the sim strat, though, not as popular as it used to be. So usually like Brawl or Double Shield, sometimes also Pharmacy. There's a lot of Pharmacy here, except on Control Center because there's not really a good ceiling there. There is a ceiling, so the sky is a lot lower. So a lot of time you just see a Brawl comp, some Junkrats, some Reaper. So, you know, it really depends on what they want to run, but Wash seems to be very comfortable on what they want to do. One entity seems to be maybe a little bit behind because they're running a lot of stuff we used to see in the old meta.
Yeah, I noticed that as well, and you did mention that we may or may not see a sim strat, but if we do, I assume it's going to be that modified one. Well, rather than playing Symmetra to teleport onto the point, you teleport directly out of spawn to help your team get to the point a little bit faster. We've seen that a lot in OWL recently, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that come out here. But it looks like we're going to be rolling into Lijiang Tower at any moment now, and it's going to be a very interesting map, no doubt, especially if the supports on Wash are able to keep the momentum they have right now. It's going to be almost impossible to kill any of them because these supports are just always there to keep their team alive.
I mean, no shade to existence, but I think Big Juice has just been making huge plays on that Ana. The sleeps not as much. I haven't really seen as much sleeps come out, but the nades have just been huge. A lot of the time you see Harrow Man wants to play super aggro, and he's charging in well anti, and I'm thinking, man, this guy is a mad lad. Either a huge Chad or, he's kind of feeding. And, it's been like hit or miss, but especially on that attack, the nades have really enabled Slow to just get in there and really just mess them up and get those kills. And again, like as we saw, the Nano Blades have been great so far for Pekka, but we're gonna see sim strats from both teams. Like you said, probably just gonna teleport out of spawn and then maybe swap to a Reaper. Reaper is pretty good because you can teleport. We're gonna see Pekka on the Junkrat, and we're actually gonna see I give up on OW now on the Genji, so we're gonna see some Genji play for the first time from one entity.
Yeah, like you said, one entity busting out that Genji for the first time, and if we see Symmetras on Lijiang Tower at all, I believe it is going to be this map, like we talked about. Low ceiling, close corridors, a lot of places for good turrets, but the gates are going to open up. We'll find out right now if either of them intend on staying on this Symmetra. It looks like they are going to be, at least for a second, but no, they both will now swap onto the Ashe as well, so we're not going to have the Ashe v Ashe, but pretty much the rest of the team is different. There's the Ryan v Ryan as well, and Ana v Ana, but overall, the main tank is going to be the most important here. If you lose your main tank first, you're going to be able to lose the fight as well. Joker already 30% to a Bob, where Bats is only 3%, so a huge difference there in the coordination of getting those eliminations and just dealing that damage. A big sleep comes down to Slow from Serrated, but there's nobody to follow up on the kills to get any kind of CC afterward. Pegapants is able to take out Serrated straight away, and losing your main support this early on in the fight is everything but a death sentence. Coming out on top of this fight is going to be very difficult for them. We're going to see the early cap coming through from Washed, but the odds of them getting this without much of a fight do seem pretty low. Harrowman especially is able to pick up Pegapants, so Slow going to be pushing in now, trying to deal some damage. Harrowman left shifting in. I hope that was a misclick, a very poor play coming from the Reinhardt. You don't love to see that, but Extra Sharpie now sticking on the Diva instead, so now we're seeing that Ryan Diva comp come out once again versus what is now a Ryan Zarya. Slow dropping into critical condition, 25% away from that Shatter versus Harrowman, only 40% there. Joker has the Bob online while its bat is 30% away from it, so it's very unusual to see these massive ultimate differences coming from the same hero, but Joker just being so much more aggressive, hitting larger dynamites. But we're going to see a next fight engagement come through, engaging with the Bob. Joker throwing it right on the point. It's going to be slugged by Big Juice. That was a pretty big sleep, but it's immediately woken up by a teammate. Very unfortunate to see. Slow now has that Shatter as well, but it's definitely finding a hard time to use it. It's able to take out Joker, and the Shatter is going to come out picking up 0. Very unfortunate to see, as I give up on Overwatch does take out Pegapants as well. Harrowman finds Slow with the charge. Serrated now has that Nano online versus Big Juice with 90% existence, has the Beat online as well. A lot of ultimates are about to come online for Washed, but one entity is able to win this fight slowly but surely, and after half the point has already been in the favor of Washed, one entity is going to be able to flip this in their favor.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised we're seeing the Ashe come out because, this is a very close quarters map. You kind of have to find those off angles. We've seen Joker play on the high ground, just kind of getting a lot of spam damage, and they could have taken this fight a lot earlier. Here is the tire coming out, but Harrowman has to stop charging in.
Yeah, very risky tire coming from Pegapants, trying to flank and trying to use it a little cheeky. He is able to dodge the Flame Strike, and Harrowman will pay for it as we see a solo grab come out. Extra Sharp he is taken out by the grab, so that's going to be 2 ultimates put into winning this fight, which was already, they were up 1, the main tank was missing, but they commit to grab anyway. Game Boy possibly just looking for a big kill or just a guaranteed kill. A bit of a waste of a grab if you ask me, but they are able to come out on top of that fight.
Yeah, now we're going to see some stragglers have to reset, but Slow is kind of in no man's land right now. He might be found out. They're going to, yeah, they are going to find the main tank, so this is a really weird situation. Right now, a 5v4, it looks like. They do have ults on the side of one entity. This might be the fight they need. I mean, they need to run in now, even if they're down. They have so much to use. They have the Nano Blade, which is probably their bread and butter.
Yeah, bread and butter, like you said, Nano Blade coming out, most likely to see they've got 5.5 ultimates online. Here comes the Blade, here comes the Nano, but the beat from Existence is going to come online as well. A big shatter comes out from Harrowman. He is able to pick up 1. It's going to give I Give Up the perfect opportunity to pick up a double kill, make that a triple kill as Existence falls as well. Pegapants is taken out by Extra Sharpie, and just when we thought that Wash used a lot of ultimates, one entity is going to come out and use a couple more.
Yeah, but they use basically the exact same combination of ults that we saw from Wash on King's Row. They use the Nano Blade, and then while they're distracted, the Shatter comes out as well. Is it too many ults? Well, we're about to find out, because right now, Bob is not going to come online as the early pick comes out, and here's the square as well.
Committing window straight away. I Give Up on Overwatch is able to take out 8 spats, and already halfway to another Blade with Serrated, halfway to another Nano as well. So right now, Wash is being beaten at their own game, and that may be because they don't have a Genji of their own. Immortality Field being thrown out from Grimhammer on the point to keep their team alive from the spam damage coming from Pegapants off in the distance. Pegapants is going to take some damage, and Slow's going to be slept off the left side of point. The bomb's going to be sent straight down main, and can the shield come up in time? The answer is yes, as no one is taken out by the bomb. Very high risk, high reward, but there was no reward to be claimed there. Pegapants now having pressure put on by the Diva, but the Zarya is going to be there to save. We're going to hear Bob come out after Bob. Joker takes out It's Bats straight away. Extra Sharpie is going to fall out of that mech and die as well. It's Bats takes out I Give Up on Overwatch, so a lot more ultimates coming out. We hear 2, make that 3 coming out as Pegapants and Slow both use their ultimates. The Tire and the Shatter come out, and they've used every single ultimate in the game. Everybody used their ultimates in that fight, but as the overtime timer ticks away, we are going to see Wash come out on top 100-78.
And, you know, it really comes down to being able to finish up and, you know, take a fight quick. We saw one entity take forever on their first point capture. I think they got 50%, and that adds up. You know, if Wash had not been able to stagger that out for so long, we probably would see that point still going. But Wash just being a little bit more clean so far with their target focus, and those 4 Annas sleeping to Bobs to have them immediately woken up on both sides. I really feel for Big Juice and Serrated, but that was then. This is now. We are moving on and out to Gardens, so we are going to see a more traditional standard dive that you might see in Overwatch League Season 1 versus Korean dive. Very interesting. Also a pharmacy.
Yeah, the pharmacy finally coming out. I was kind of surprised we didn't see one earlier, but we do see one entity sticking to changing to the Winston Zarya comp, something that was being thrown around in the meta a little bit. People were very unsure of, but it's going to come out very quickly, and they're going to try to do with it what they can. Joker having that Mercy Pocket as well, going to help the team, but basically down a healer. But Existence takes out Harrowman, and in this team comp, the Winston is arguably the most important. Grimhammer falls to the depths, but is able to Guardian Angel back to Joker, who is still flying high in the sky. Slow putting a lot of pressure on diving into that spawn. The entirety of Wash just getting in the faces of one entity, and it looks like they are not paying for it quite yet. A lot of damage coming out, and the point slowly but surely going to be capped by Existence. They're going to be moving in with the early cap from the Lucio. Nobody from one entity can even get there in time. Joker picks up its bat very early on, so it's going to be a big pick for them now. It's going to be the 5v6, but 5% already given in the favor of Wash simply because they are much faster. Things looking good so far with the pharmacy staying high in the sky, and really no hit scans online quite yet, but It's Bat will swap onto the Ash to put more pressure onto Joker. Extra Sharpie is able to take out Slow very quickly in the fight. 25% away from a grab, make that 15% in the blink of an eye. Arrowman taken out by Game Boy, so it's going to be trade after trade, 20% already on the point for Wash, and if they come out on top of this, they are going to take Lijiang Tower, so we are going to have to see one entity really start coming to life here and get a little bit more aggressive. Grimhammer stuck off the side of the map. Looks like they are not going to be able to make it back to their team. Slowly but surely, the Mercy's Guardian Angel will fade away. She will fall off the map. You hate to see it. Joker is able to take out Pegapants, though, and that may force them to move backwards here, as Wash is going to struggle to get aggressive without their main DPS online. B is online from Existence, though, so they may be able to stall for a little bit longer, but they are going to go for the retreating to point strategy. Harrowman and Slow both have that Primal online. Slow, the only person in, going to pop that Primal just to try to keep his enemy try to keep the enemy team in spawn for as long as possible, stalling every single point away. Harrowman popping a primal of his own, putting some pressure into Wash. Now we're going to see the bomb come out. Harrowman is able to find Big Juice as Slow finds I Give Up Now instead. Oh, but Harrowman falls in the primal, is not able to make it back to the point as Slow takes out Serrated, so Slow getting much more value out of that primal. Grimhammer is able to res Serrated here, so both supports now back online, but with both your tanks missing, we could see the Grav Blade Nano coming out from one entity very soon, with only beat online from Wash, so this could be a very interesting fight with only 25 seconds left for one entity to make a move.
I mean, they have the grab blade, and they kind of have to use it. The beat will be online, but is it enough? The nano coming out as well, but no grab yet.
Nano Blade holding onto that grab, and right now the Nano Blade not getting any value. Not a single kill has come online. I Give Up on Overwatch. It is going to end up falling to its bet. The grab finally coming out. It's actually quite large. It's able to pick up 4. We're going to see the coalescence come through, and they're trying to keep the team alive, but Big Juice really can't do that much from a distance. Slow is able to take out Grimhammer, and with Harrowman falling, it's pretty much all but over here for one entity. They are going to end up losing this map. Lijiang Tower's second point, unless we see an insane play, but they can't even touch the point. So just like that, Lijiang Tower is going to come to an end.
Yeah, that was a very decisive point by Wash. First one control center, it looks a lot more back and forth, but this was just, I mean, they were spawn camping them. You usually don't see that on control, and I think it really came down to Korean dive is good. Like, we all know that. That's why it's played by the pros, but it's a very hard comp to execute. You really have to be careful with your bubble usage, especially helping that Winston out, and it just seemed like a lot of the time Harrowman was falling very early. I'm not sure why the grab wasn't used by Extra Sharpie. Maybe they were scared of it being eaten by the diva, but you really needed to throw everything in one basket at once, because this is such a mobile comp coming out from Wash that everyone just kind of run away from the blade.
Yeah, it was definitely a pretty miscalculated play coming from that team there. One entity tried their best. They maybe were worried about having the Grav eaten by Game Boy on the Diva, but the Ultimates just they waited too long to let him out, and it wasn't really going to work out in time. So just like that, it's going to go into the favor of Washed and put them up 2-0 over one entity in the semifinals.
Yep, they are going to be up 2-0. Next map's gonna be Assault, so I think that's gonna be really interesting because we saw a little bit of point presence from both these teams, and it looks like Wash really knows how to hold the point down.
Yeah, Wash definitely has a very aggressive defense. It's something that they're very clearly comfortable with. And as we move into Assault, we're going to see probably even more team comps come out. Something interesting about both of these teams is they've really shown us quite a few comps. We've seen Ryan Zarya, Ryan Sigma, Winston Diva, Winston Zarya. We've really seen a lot of combination coming out from the tanks, and the DPS just kind of fall in line. We've seen a lot of Genji and a lot of Ashe, but on that last map, we were lucky enough to see a Farmer C. We saw a Junkrat at one point. We saw a May. So we're really seeing a lot of swapping coming from these teams. So it's not something you'd see often, but it's always putting on an entertaining show because watching the same team comp over and over does get boring pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Genji not being very good right now, but I think that even if he isn't as good as he was a little while ago, his ult is just still so amazing that people want to run him because, as we've seen, like, I don't think except actually, we just saw one Blade get totally defeated, at the very end, but beyond that, like, these Blades, especially from Pekka Pants, have just been fight winners. They've been absolutely insane. They just basically team wipes, especially followed up with a Shatter, so I think when you know that you can get value out of it, it really doesn't matter if he isn't as strong as he used to be. And you look at the projectile DPS, category, and honestly, like, you got Junkrat, you've got May, you've got Pharah, they're just not as strong as they used to be. So not a lot of options really remaining. You might as well just run Genji if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, big blades after big blades, things are insane to see. And I still can't believe what we saw from Slow with the 4-man primal when he was hiding in the enemy team. It was very risky. We saw the 4 survivors back up, but Slow stayed in the fight, used the primal, and ended up picking up a quadruple kill over about 10 to 20 seconds. So it was just very lucky to see. And it was good coordination from Wash as a whole. One entity kind of fell right into that trap with Harrowman overextending to boot.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him falling a lot in the beginning, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to play that aggressive style. The problem is when you're like, alone, and I think as you said, like that's kind of what's happening. A lot of the time, he's just kind of isolating himself, whether it's a charge or with the Winston jump. He's just kind of out of reach of his team, or they're not able to get there in the nick of time to save him. And I mean, he's getting value, he's getting picks a lot of the time, but then he's just out there, and there's no way to save him. And then from there, Wash kind of just recovers and goes from there. But we are going to be going to Temple of Anubis, so we might see some more Junkrat play there. He's very strong, especially on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Junkrat on this map in particular is very familiar to see, something that is very common. So seeing it on the defense, especially that first point, every single entrance to the point is just going to be these corridors, these very tight, closed up hallways. So
It's not something that's uncommon, and we've seen the good Junkrat play come out already with a triple tire coming from Joker. So I would not be surprised to see Junkrat come online once again.
Yeah, and I mean, do you think we're gonna still see more Genji, or do you think we might just see like some other projectile heroes come out? I mean, Hanzo's sort of good here because there's a lot of sight lines. You could see like maybe a double sniper comp. You see that a lot in a map like Rialto, where there's a lot of just like really good high spots there. But Hanzo's is really good on attack, honestly, especially in the second. But you just kind of keep him at the choke and he just spams away.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I think Genji's pretty common. We've seen that he's a comfort pick for a lot of these players already. The Nano Blades coming online. I think every map that we've seen so far, both the maps we saw Nano Blades come online. So I'd expect to see a Genji come out more from Washed than one entity, as Joker's going to be on that Junkrat. They may want to play a little bit more around that. Maybe put a Mei on the team, possibly a Reaper to just make up for the missing attack and the missing damage that they have. But possibly they're going to stick with the Nano Blade and just the Genji as a whole. I'm really more curious on what's going to happen with these tanks. We've seen both One Entity and Washed really rotate through the roster with these tanks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've seen some really, interesting team comps. We saw some double shield. We saw Ryan Diva, which I haven't seen in like light years. Ryan Zarya, Ryan Sigma. So we saw Dive as well. And honestly, I think Dive is really good on this first point attack. I think you can kind of just jump onto that high ground and maybe even run the wrecking ball and boot them all off, and then focus down whoever is kind of out of place. But it's a very hard comp to execute, and we already saw that one entity struggled on the dive. I mean, the Winston Zarya just not paying off the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, the Winston Zarya, it was kind of a risky play. It's still a new meta, so to speak, but it's not something that really worked out for one entity there. I was surprised they didn't swap off at all. Even when the pharmacy wasn't working, they hard stuck to that as well, and they really paid for it. They barely, I don't think they even got to touch the point, actually. I think it was a complete win from Wash.
I think the Zarya was able to touch the point after they had grabbed, but at that point, it was already said and done. I think they were like one of the only people alive, and we are going to be getting into Anubis now. Thank you for being patient. If you're just joining us right now, this is the Overwatch Pretenders Summer 2020 Upper Division Semifinals. This is game one, Washed versus One Entity. Washed right now up 2-0, only 2 maps away from victory and sweeping the series. Kind of the opposite of what was done during the regular season, as one entity was able to sweep Wash. So, right now, Wash definitely has to be feeling good about that.
Yeah, without a doubt, like you said, Washed was able to clutch these first two. I said clutch. They rolled these first two maps, but they did lose that 4-1 last time. So maybe you'd expect to see different team comps coming out. Maybe they're using different strategies or communications to improve their gameplay. But especially if one entity's running the same team comps they were last time, Washed can come in incredibly prepared.
Yep, and it looks like we might see the Korean dive come out from Wash on defense, which is something you don't see. But I remember in season 1 of Overwatch, like, the Winston would always play kind of like on that pillar to the top left, and you just wait to jump in. So you always love to see Winston. I think he's a very fun character to watch. Very, no aim, but a lot of mechanics required to play him well.
Yeah, no aim, but still a surprisingly high skill ceiling. Is it's really quite difficult to play Winston in these higher levels and these higher ranks and do it effectively without feeding into the enemy team. So Slow has been putting on an absolute masterclass on how to play Winston so far and has been doing a fantastic job. But I Give Up is going to be on the attack Junkrat, so not exactly what we predicted, but the Junkrat is going to come out from one entity. So I'm going to give myself like a 50% there, as I got it kind of right, but it was the wrong player. So looks like they are going to go in for this. Actually, it looks like one entity is really uncertain on what they're trying to do. They're going to rotate around for the Genji, but Vegapants is going to get a lot of free value, not really charging the ultimate quite yet, but is able to make it out with their life. Slow putting a lot of pressure onto the tanks as well. The Ryan Diva into the Zarya Winston, definitely an unusual thing, not something we've seen often, so this really could go either team's way, as nobody's really prepared for this coordination. Heroman just leading his team through main, putting a lot of pressure down. It's bad on the Widow, getting absolutely no value so far. I'm not sure they've even landed a shot. Extra Sharpie is going to be slept on the point, but immediately woken up by the Winston Tesla cannon. Game Boy is able to finally pick up Grimhammer, and the main support now missing is going to be fantastic for our defenders. Game Boy takes out Heroman as well. Pegapants takes out Joker. The D-Mex Diva running on the point, trying to survive as both the Junkrat and the Lucio are taken out. Looked a little bit rough for our defenders as they allowed the attackers to move all the way into point, but Heroman is going to get the Diva Mech in time, but will be taken out by Pegapants with a well-timed dash.
Yeah, and like you said, it's bad. Maybe not hitting the shots right now, but honestly, Slow has been such a distraction. that Game Boy is just doing so much damage. Almost has that grab online. We're gonna see extra Sharpie swap, and then nades again from Big Juice being the difference maker. Hero Man charging after he got antied, which is always a big no-no, especially if there's no bubble to save you. He was very weak, and from there, you know, you just saw Wash able to wash up, clean up that fight. But once again, we're gonna see one of the try to rotate on the point.
Yeah, they are going to rotate onto the point. It looks like they will be going through the high ground, so it's a much different strategy, especially with the Reinhardt. This can be very risky. If you get too close, you get stuck on the high ground. Rein's going to get such little value, but Slow going to leap in with the Zarya bubble, leap right back out. That's exactly how it needs to be played. Going to be fantastic. Pigapants 11% off of that blade. The Nano going to come out early, trying to keep the Genji alive. The Grav picks up 0, hits the ceiling. Looks like a fat finger or a very risky play to come out, but we do see one pick come out from Pigapants already as he's able to take out Serrated, but Grimhammer pops that Coalescence and takes out Pigapants to boot, so we are not going to be in the 5v5 existence, popping the window as well. Extra Sharpie dropping into critical condition, but is able to make it out. Heraldman going to be cornered now by Slow, popping the Primal Rage, but Slow will have to get out. I Give Up now is right behind him. Existence has fallen as well. A tire coming out now. An unusual thing to do. It's going to pick up Game Boy in the back line. Kind of risky, but it eliminates the Zarya very quickly. Slow finding Joker on the high ground. A tick as going to be given up as I Give Up takes out Slow. We're going to see Joker 11% away from that Bob. Itzbat has the ultimate online, but has gotten absolutely no value with the Widowmaker so far, so you would expect to see a swap, especially on the second point. It's very difficult to find important picks on the Widowmaker, but the stall is going to come out from Pegapants. He will be eliminated 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock for one entity as they push into second point here.
I think that was a big misplay from Game Boy, but we're going to talk about that later because Big Juice is gone and Hero Man is in.
Hero Man is in, picks up a double kill onto Itzbat and Big Juice. It's going to be a third of the team already gone with a Bob coming online from Joker as well. Grimhammer takes out Existence once again. Poor guy has not gotten to play the game a single time on Anubis. Slow finds Extra Sharpie just way too late in this fight. It has been eons since a kill has been necessary. Slow finds another kill, but is taken out by the Total Mayhem. Insult to injury. The sole survivor of the team will be taken out. Itzbat dismissed by Joker finally on the Tracer, but Ash is going to do a little bit better there. We see halfway to another grab coming from Extra Sharpie. Harrowman 50% to a shatter versus Gameplay 75% to a grab of their own. Pegapants pulling the blade straight away. Nano coming out a little bit early against the value, not going to be there quite yet. I Give Up now on the Echo as Gameboy takes out Harrowman. The main tank missing does mean the attackers are going to have to move back. One entity will have to return to spawn and group up. They were not able to get that first tick even though they were up in a 4v6.
They did it again, Septilence. They did it again. They just did not play the objective. And I'm like actively getting annoyed by this because if they had actually played on point, they would have probably gone 2 ticks. But again, they chased kills. In the fight before, we saw Game Boy just throw that grab and maybe a little bit impatient. They wanted to get that Nano Blade online, but just, you know, wasn't able to really hit it. No one caught in that grab, but now we're seeing echoes come out from both teams, so very interesting choice. As you said, no ticks online for one entity as they move on to point 2.
Harrowman gonna come through, gonna leave his team behind as a 3-man grab coming through. Pegapants is gonna be able to clean that up straight away. A laser takes out both Serrated and Extra Sharpie, so you're missing that Lucio and that Zarya, both beat and grab offline. Pegapants right now just flaming the enemy team with his Echo. That's gonna be triple kill immediately back on the Echo, so it's very valuable, clearly, as they're already matching the ult charge from the Echo on the enemy team. Harrowman only 10% away from a Shatter, and Shatter can change the game here, but with Window and almost Transformation online, Nano not too far behind as well. Our defenders are all but down, but not out. They've burned 2 minutes already off the clock, and they are going to look to burn a little bit more. Harrowman already off the shield, cannot get it in time. It's going to be melted time and time again. They're going to be melted very quickly, but the Shatter 6% away. But no, with the window coming up, Harrowman dismissed by Pegapants straight away. Extra Sharpie going to hit a massive grab, but nobody's there to capitalize. Again, getting way too greedy, using that ultimate very early. Itzbat finally coming to life, is able to pick up a quadruple kill there. Took a very long time, but already 90% to that Ashe, so maybe the Ashe is the hero they just need to stick onto. But a minute and 45 seconds on the clock, down in the ult economy, but they've got to beat a Shatter and a Dream. One entity is going to have to push in very soon if they want to cap this with any time remaining.
I'm really interested to see who these Echoes choose to duplicate because I'm not really sure who you do. Do you go for the tank? I mean, you have the Monkey, but here is one coming out online, and Pegapants is on that Rhine, and he's nanoed.
Pegapants nanoed on the Rhine, stunned by Joker here, is going to be able to pick up the kill anyway, but probably not going to be able to get the Shatter, and even if they do, not going to be able to find a lot of value. Looks like they are going to hit the Shatter and pick up just one Lucio, but be shattered by Harrowman. Kind of a waste of a Shatter. They're only hitting a transformed Echo, who's not going to have much more time left. It's back going to be able to find Harrowman from that risky play, but now I Give Up swapping onto the Winston. I think a much more strategic play, much more long-term play, able to get a lot of damage, and even if they don't, they can soak up a lot more. The anti does come through, but I Give Up's going to pop the Primal Dance all the way to the point.
knock Big Juice to the high ground and then desperately try to get out in the 5v6. Drops to critical condition, but is just barely able to make it out. Joker has the high noon, but in close corridors like this, popping a high noon is all but a fever dream. We see It's Bad gonna throw the bomb down the street here. Joker is able to take out Game Boy as well. So 3 ultimates for our attackers. One entity can push in really whatever they want to. Zarya's missing, but looks like they're not going to. Maybe a little bit too afraid of that Bob. A lot of damage being pushed onto them, but Serrated takes out the Bob. They've got, like I said, 3 ultimates online versus a single grab and a window not too far behind. They're missing a huge opportunity to get through here. One entity kind of sharing one brain cell here. They've missed a lot of really important plays, and the Immortality Field coming out super early. Grimhammer's again picked up the Zarya, so grab is now gone once again. Window comes out online. Joker picks up a kill. Harriman picks up a kill, but they're still not playing the point. Existence is able to take out I Give Up. Slowly but surely, a bomb going to come out from Extra Sharpie. Insult to injury there to keep the enemy team off the point. The worst part is they waited way too long, so even if they cap, they're going to have no time left on the clock.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you need to save that bomb for this recontest right now. You see the ball is Nano, and Game Boy is going to find one. Now they're still going to find one.
Kill. Triple kill. That's going to be very quick. Like you said, the bomb used for literally no reason is going to cost them this final fight. They were a single ultimate away from capping both points in overtime, but because Extra Sharpie just threw the bomb for no reason, they're going to pay for it here, and they're not going to cap this second point.
I think we're just seeing 2 teams that play very differently. Wash seems to play very well coordinated, and one entity just kind of seems like they're playing ladder almost in a way. You know, the way they're throwing stuff out there, the way they're not playing on point, the way that just it doesn't seem to be like coming together. I mean, they're so close, and they're very mechanically skilled. There's no doubt about that. But Wash is just doing so much better at rotating their alt bank, you know, playing together, separating people. And we saw so many ults wasted from one entity, and they were able to get 2 ticks, but only able to get 1 full cap. So no tie really available now. Wash knows their win condition, and if it's anything like Kings Row, this will be a very quick Anubis.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. If anything, we're going to see a mirror of Kings Row. Our current winners right now being Washed. I mean, they are just on fire. And if they come out with the same heat they did on Kings Row on this attack, we could see Temple of Anubis gone in under a minute, maybe even under 2 minutes. It's going to be interesting if they can just break through this first choke. But they're going up against a very different team comp with I Give Up now on that Junkrat. And like we talked about earlier, this is Junkrat's map. If any hero gets to utilize all the angles of Anubis, it's going to be Junkrat with that massive damage spam. But if the enemy team is running no shields, Washed, I mean, they're running the Wrecking Ball here, and that could be just enough to completely dislocate one entity. So as the gates open up, it's going to be a very interesting match. We see actually almost 2 complete different team comps. Sigma, the only hero being played on both teams right now. That is not something you see in competitive Overwatch very often.
This is the Dallas Fuel special. The ball with the Sigma. You see this a lot from Dallas Fuel, but it's Batson on a Joker. So already a 5v6, now a 6v6 as the res comes in. But the ante might be all they need right now as Wash tries to get onto this point.
Slow just rolling into the back line, but I Give Up is able to take out Game Boy. So it's going to be a 5v6 with no res online. Pigapants taking a lot of damage as well. Just when they thought they had that online, the Resurrection came through. Nobody was there to prevent it. So Slow is going to get a little bit more damage here. Halfway to a minefield already, which is amazing. It's been 30 seconds, and they are halfway to a minefield, but they're going to give their life for it. Slow just simply could knock it out of the enemy front line in time. Harriman now asleep on point, but nobody there to get the hitbox on the get the headshot on the hitbox the size of a bus. It's Bad did hit a very valuable shot, but it was not valuable enough as they could not follow up on preventing the resurrection. Big Juice halfway to that nano boost. Slow now swapping out of the Roadhog, giving up that minefield to get maybe a little bit more aggressive and hit some nasty hooks. But Sigma Roadhog, not a comp that we see very often. I Give Up already halfway to a tire as well. Joker halfway to a Bob. So just when we thought it was going to be a very easy cleanup for Wash, one entity's going to put a lot of pressure down. I Give Up getting insane value on this. Junkrat is able to take out Pegapants on that Genji.
Yeah, and he's going to be almost caught out, but it looks like it seems able to rotate just in time. It's going to get hooked, though, and Slow is going to take that pick now. So the BAP just completely oblivious to the fact that there's a Roadhog right behind him, and we don't see Roadhog meta right now because he doesn't really fit in any other tanks. But after that recent buff, he is very strong.
Absolutely. Grimhammer drops into critical condition. Slow couldn't follow up on the kill quite yet. It looks like they will still not be able to, but Existence going to take out Joker. Immortality Field now gone as well. Tire. Oh, Mercy goes offline, and we see Window coming out as well from Serrated. The blade being pulled from Pegapants. This is pretty insult to injury. He's going to pick up a double kill, but this fight was pretty much won for them already. 2 minutes on the clock, 2 minutes already gone. We saw a much stronger defense come out from one entity, but the question is, will they be able to do that for a little under 5 minutes? Slow already pushing into the second point with an ultimate online. Kind of completely feeding, actually. Does find I Give Up, but drops to everything but dead. Was less than 20 health, so things were not looking very good.
Do we see the Junkrat tire and the Bob ready to come out online? Widowmaker has the sights as well, and the beat coming out from Existence with the whole hog. I mean, they really could just force a C9 with this whole hog if they wanted to, but our defenders now holding on to point one entity. They've got 3 ultimates online, nearly 4, so this should be a pretty easy fight for them to win as both Tire and Bongo come out. The Tire picks up 0. I Give Up now finds nobody and drops into critical condition as pressure's being put on from Game Boy. Slow is able to find him with the whip shot coming from the hook. You don't see that very often in the kill feed, but nicely done from Slow. Existence flies into the point. Slow's going to pop that whole hog, but Game Boy's going to be taken out instead, so Slow not getting a lot of value. I believe they were stunned out of that ultimate. This is a very slow burn fight. Each team just trying to get a couple of picks to either stall or push into the point, but right now we are one fight away from Wash taking us into a 3-0. This is really the moment where one entity is going to have to come to life if they want any hope of winning this.
Yeah, and it looks like this fight's definitely over. We just see only Slow really alive. I think Existence is still there, but he's going to try to back out. Slow probably going to be staggered out a little bit, but as we saw, Roadhog just can't die right now. His healing is so good. Finally is going to fall, and really good fight from one entity because they were able to hold on to both their Flux and Bob. They needed to not use everything in the tank as we've seen so far, and they were able to have that discipline. There are a lot of ults online right now for Wash 3 to be exact, and they are going to swap off of that hog onto the Rhine, so double shield comps coming out from both teams, a little bit more brawly from Wash, probably going to be able to push in a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, like you said, they're going to get a little bit more aggressive here. Sights, Beat, and Sigma all online here. But Bob flying out from Joker super fast. Sights finally coming out from It's Bad. Not going to be very helpful if they really know where the enemy team is. But we see Pickapants back on that Genji, hiding in the back line. Slow falls very early. The Reinhardt already working much less than the Roadhog. A huge deflex coming through, but Pigapants is not able to pick up anybody quite yet. Gravitic Flux ready from both Genjis. I Give Up halfway to another site, and the Beat still being held from Existence. Really no great opportunity to use it so far. A very slow burn fight. Extra sharp finds melee kill onto Pigapants is going to cost at least another 20 seconds. 3 minutes on the clock. They are down in the ultimate advantage, but not for long. Oh, I Give Up is able to take out It's Bad. Maybe swapping off that Widowmaker is finally going to come through because It's Bad not getting the value I think that they're looking for. Our defenders are doing a great job so far as one entity is able to hold on to this point, but Washed regrouping and they're looking to push in again any second here.
I think they're just looking for that Nano Blade. It's been their bread and butter and has been their fight winner so many times, but Extra Sharpie does have the Flux online, and that's really a good defensive ult just to counter it. You can use the lamp as well just for a little bit of extra protection. They've done a very good job on one entity by using not too much, but both Fluxes coming out now.
One graph picks up the other with the Beat from Existence, going to keep all 6 teammates alive. Serrated popping that window. Immortality Field already gone. Sights coming online from I Give Up now. Bongo is online from Harriman as well. They're 9% away from the Blade. They are going to pull the Nano Blade. Now they're going to find Harriman straight away, but Big Juice is now taken out by Extra Sharpie. The Nano was able to come out first. Big Pants picks up Serrated as well. We hear the rest come through, but it is taken out by Existence. Widowmaker in critical conditions. Extra Sharpie is going to fall. They are going to get first take here, but this fight is still far from over. We saw it last time with no ultimates online. It's going to be very difficult to keep this point alive, but no, they are mere seconds away from taking this, and it looks like one person contesting right now. Only a couple survivors coming from our attacking team. They're going to pick them up slowly one by one, but this is the thing about 2CP maps is it's so incredibly easy to stall these points. Very extended periods of time, but right now Slow just swinging that hammer, getting damage after damage here. Gonna pick up a shatter onto no one. I'm not sure how that didn't hit. The wall must have been on the way onto Harriman. Harriman just stalling for as long as possible, is able to keep this point alive for even longer. Slow gonna walk all the way into the spawn of the defenders, just trying to body block for as long as possible, and just like that, we are gonna be in a 3-0 in favor of Wash.
Yep, it's match point now for Wash, very close to that victory, but not there just yet. A little bit longer to go, but I thought one entity was in a great spot, and then they did exactly what they weren't doing. They blew everything on one fight. They used the Flux, they used the Valk, and they just got no value out of it. I know that they were kind of nervous about the fact that they got Flux themselves, but they had the lamp out, so they had protection. And in the end, Wash is able to save up that alt bank with the swaps and able just to take it.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, every single time we've seen a team lose a fight is because they've just way overcommitted their ultimates and they've just had no more for the next fight. So things really not looking fantastic so far for either team. Every time they lose a fight, it's exclusively because they commit too many ultimates. Washed right now is going to be up in the 3-minute or in the in the 3-point advantage over one entity. But we are going to pick our next map, which is going to be which type, Jag?
It is going to be, drumroll please, Escort, the one type that we have not seen so far. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we pick. You know, one entity has picked the last two maps, just haven't been able to win on their picks just yet. Wash did pick the first map, so Kings Row was their choice, and you know, went 1 for 1 right now on their own map choice. But It's gonna be interesting to see what entity chooses because they need to get into the series somehow. It is do or die. This is their last chance. Can they bring it back from the brink?
Escort, a very popular map type, as it is one of the many maps we've seen played, and hopefully they can pull this into a reverse sweep because nothing hurts more than going home against a 4-0. One entity, like you said, they're now on the brink of their elimination from this tournament, so this is really going to have to be where they bring it back to life if they have any hope of making it to grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're living on a prayer right now, but that prayer may or may not be answered depending on how they play. Because again, like we saw on Anubis, that mechanical skill definitely is there, but it just seems like when push comes to shove, they throw everything at the wall and nothing seems to stick. They're just losing their alt banks and then getting destroyed by Genji blades.
Yeah, the Genji Blade bot just really coming out here, Pega Pants hitting insane ultimates every single time. But it's bad. Definitely not their best map. Kind of got carried a little bit. They had a huge frag on the defense, but that's probably the only eliminations I think they got that entire game. So that really wasn't
And
fantastic from them. But
But in fairness, Widow's kind of like hit or miss because you can get a lot of body shots and then just kind of run away and someone else follows it up. So we never know what that damage metal might be or isn't. But I agree, the Widow not getting as much value as the Ashe, but Wash is in the driver's seat, so I'm sure they're pretty happy regardless.
yeah, our next map is going to be Rialto. But before that, we are going to take a quick break. So go drink some water, go to the bathroom, go do anything you want. Go follow me on Twitter at Septilins.
Or follow me at JagCast.
And we'll see you in about 5 to 10 minutes. We'll see you on the other side.
What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for waiting. It is going to be the end of our halftime, and we are going to jump into what could very possibly be our final map. I am once again your play-by-play caster, Septilence, and I am here with my good friend and color caster, Jag.
I really like that intro that I'm your good friend. It makes me feel good inside. But one entity probably not feeling too good because they are currently down 0-3 to Wash. Wash the number 2 seed, one entity the number 3 seed. And once again, as a reminder, these two teams did play in the regular season and one entity did come up on top of that. So Wash looking for a little bit of revenge in this series, and so far they have found it, but it's far from over, or maybe not, depending on how this nap goes. But right now, Wash is on match point. One entity just trying so desperately to get back into the series.
Yeah, I mean, this is really going to be their final moment. They're going to have to come back to life and really understand what is like their title is on the line here. This will be pushing them out of grand finals. They are a single game away, but right now they are still 4 matches away from taking this.
Yeah, but we've seen crazier. We've seen reverse sweeps, so it's not impossible, but I think right now Wash is just playing at a different level. They seem to be really in sync. They know how to use their alt banks wisely. Meanwhile, what entity, we've seen very good glimpses, but those glimpses just haven't been enough to get them a map win in this series. And, Kings Row, very one-sided for Wash. They ran through it. What they had, like 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes in their time bank when they full capped.
Yeah, it was 4.5 minutes for that King's Row, and that was probably the hardest sweep we've seen from Washed so far. I mean, their name is Washed, but they are very clearly anything but. They have done a fantastic job, and I believe, as the saying goes, one entity is playing checkers and Washed is playing chess, because right now they are just playing a completely different game and stomping one entity so far.
Not just chess, like 4D chess, like the most
They're playing
insane chess
4D
I've ever
chess
seen.
blindfolded. They
And
are
they're
completely
still winning.
beyond, and they're still winning.
Yeah, but we are gonna see side swap for the first time, so one entity gonna be on the defense for the first time. Wash gonna take that attack, and that might be a bit of a statement. There's always kind of a mind game when it comes to choosing attack and defense. And Wash is like, hey, we're tired of holding you guys so early. We just want to go and attack and kind of roll through.
Yeah, absolutely. When they're defending all of these times over and over, they're hardly getting to play most of these maps because they're winning so quickly. So hopefully they're planning to take this one a little bit longer, maybe enjoy the beautiful sights of Rialto, possibly take a boat ride, maybe just enjoy themselves for a little while. They're up 3-0. I'm sure they're on top of the world.
I mean, that canal is so beautiful. How can you not just like take a little dip, And they wrote around the map, so you can take one, just for funsies. Maybe try a 5v6 and see how that works out. But no, I don't think that Washington would try to do something like that. They might be up, but as we said, one entity definitely not out of this just yet. The mechanical skill is there. The question is, can they just make a solid hold? We saw a great hold for a little bit on Anubis' second point, on the first point too, but just seems like they got a little bit overwhelmed. And you know, if there's any time to make a move, it's now.
What is going
Yeah,
on, everybody?
absolutely.
Thank you
They
so
are,
much for
like we've
waiting.
said
It's
time
going
and
to be
time
the end
again,
of our
on the
halftime.
brink
We are
of
going to jump
extinction
into
here.
what could very
Existence
possibly-
will take them out of existence if they can secure this 4-0 dub. So right now, the gates are going to open up, and like we said, this is going to be the first time we've seen Washed on the attack all evening. They've been defending first every single fight. So we're going to see a very aggressive defense coming out from one entity. They're going to hide her on the far left side and possibly look for a very early engagement. It looks like they very clearly have seen one entity is... What are they doing? Wait, Wash has gone completely behind one entity with a wall sim strat, but nobody was there for it. The strat was completely wasted as all of one entity is just behind them. That was so cool, yet it didn't work out because no one was there to utilize it. Very unfortunate to see, and the attackers may even pay for it. Papega Pants caught out on the payload by themselves right now. Their Papega Pants are down. Serrated is now going to take Game Boy out of the fight as well. I Give Up has taken out Existence. Our defenders, a very risky strat, but our attackers, an even riskier one that did not work out. It's bad. Does put Serrated in the microwave, but we are going to see the tactical reset coming through from our attackers. They did get a lot more ult charge, but they are going to lose almost a minute off the clock already.
I mean, we talked about 4D chess, but that was some 4D chess coming out from one entity. I mean, their defense was the perfect counter to what Wash was running, and they didn't even know it. But now they are going to swap. Actually, they're keeping the Sim, but they are going to push in. The Shatter's not going to find anything, though.
Yeah, Slow picks up none with the Shatter, but Harrowman picks up 0 as no, picks up Existence, but can't do much about it. I Give Up has taken out its bat. The microwave has been unplugged, and it looks like they will be able to move in and get more aggressive. Immortality Field goes down very early. Slow just trying to farm another Shatter, but he will be walled in. The charge is going to be missed, and he's going to make it out with his life. Quite impressive. Very good communication from his teammates. He knew exactly where to go, walking backwards. Extra Sharpie is taken out by Slow, as is Serrated. The Blizzard being committed from Papega Pants, and I'm not even sure where it is.
It's way far back, like
yeah,
near where the first point is capped.
The Blizzard got yeet into the sunset there, but Papega Pants is going to pick up Grimhammer and Joker with the help of Slow. They're pushing all the way into spawn once again. If Wash loves one thing, it is to push into the enemy spawn as early as possible. The wall coming through. They've got one on cart, and this hubris might cost them a fight here. If one of them falls, and so far none of them have, but if even one of them does, it is going to cost them this fight very early on. We see the Ana, Big Juice, the silent hero here, holding onto the cart, doing the best that they can, and that's going to be a very unusual first cap coming from Rialto, and I think you were right. I think Wash chose to be on the offense this time merely because they want to have a little bit more fun. They want to get a little bit more aggressive. We've seen some pretty wonky things come out from these teams so far. We saw the Maywall sim strat. We saw the spawn push on first point. Like, they're really just looking to have fun before they secure this grand finals position.
Yeah, and Harrowman gonna fall once again. The grab is gonna be used, but it looks like it's not really gonna find anything. Got caught on the wall, but that wall that came out from Joker was really good. But then Harrowman missed the charge, and then from there they got walled and antied. And again, that's just too aggressive. Extra Sharpie is gonna take out one, but Game Boy's gonna follow up. So this is looking very bad right now for one entity. Big Juice was just throwing out the beach ball emote at one point on the cart, and this looks like a very easy second point cap for them as they keep it rolling.
Big Juice has not let go of this cart a single time, and as a support player, occasionally I feel for him. That is the job to stay there, but we're going to see a full-blown Apocalypse coming from one entity here. The window going to be the first to come out. Beat and Blizzard and Blossom. Even if they win this fight, it's going to be a lose for them in the long run, as that's 4 ultimates already committed. Make that 5 as Shatter comes online. The only ultimate not used is going to be Gravitic Flux, and they're still going to lose this fight somehow. They're still down. I Give Up critical condition in the back line, chasing It's Bad, but It's Bad's full health takes up I Give Out. Arrowman is able to find Slow, but they commit 5 ultimates to what is still a very easily lost fight.
It looks like they might come out on the top of this, but the question is, will their Lucio make it out alive? Isn't it just get out by the hair of his teeth, and the charge coming in, finally finding its mark? So that's probably going to be a soft reset from Wash, unless they want to take this fight. I mean, It's Bad is still in the back, finally is able to get out, and now here is the Flux being committed.
Here comes the Gravitic Flux. It is going to pick up 3, and there's no beat to save them. Harrowman with a very well-timed charge does take out Slow. Game Boy falling as well. This is going to call for a hard reset. I Give Up does take out It's Bad as well, so now they've lost almost all of their players. Big Juice is
C9 now.
No!
C9.
The possible C9, if this is not going to be able to do it. They're not going to be able to get it so much on the hands of Pegapants. They were a meter away. This is the just craziest Rialto game I've seen in so long, but the C9 cannot come online quite yet. They were 1.27 meters away. Slow shatters, hits 5 actually. Slow picks up a quadruple shatter, but nobody's there to get the value necessary.
Pegapants in the back line, taken out by Grimhammer. The Bob coming out now as well, coming out from Itzbat. So the attacker's really down but not out. They're really trying to get this point very quickly. Oh, Slow drops the shield just in time to get shattered. A beat comes out, as does a window. So right now, a lot of ultimates coming out online. Our attackers just barely surviving. Looks like they will be able to not come out on top quite yet. One support falls on both sides. Big Juice and Grimhammer are now both gone. Pegapants back in the fight on that Sombra, just trying to find an early hack. But if even a little bit of the freeze from Joker touches them, which it will, they will be caught out. Pegapants able to make it out by the skin of their teeth. These attackers trying so hard to go for the meme plays, even committing a grab in a 1v3. That was more than hubris there. That was completely foolish coming from Game Boy. They were not even close to on top, but right now it really looks like Wash is just trying to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, Pegapants just isn't able to really get a lot of value on this Sombra right now. I mean, I think they might have swapped just for the touch, but they've committed to it. They're only halfway to their EMP after 2 fights, which is not a great ult charge, but, you know, I'm sure that's kind of what they're waiting on now. They do have a lot of ults on the side of one entity, and honestly, this defense has been solid, but I'm not sure if it's just kind of because this is not being taken as seriously by Wash. They're finally getting their stuff together. The hack is going to come out, and here is the mail as well.
Joker does pop the mail, and even with a hacked Reinhardt, still Slow did not hit any shatters there. It's bad, does take up I Give Up, and it looks like Game Boy is going to take out Harriman as well. We're now in a 3v6 as Slow is able to find the elimination onto Extra Sharpie. So right now, Game Boy picking up Grimhammer. It's finally going to be a second point cap for them. Maybe they got a little bit more serious, focused up on what was happening. It's bad takes out Joker, and things are looking much, much better for them all of a sudden. They've got 2 minutes on the clock, so capping with any time on the clock is going to be very difficult for them from here on out.
Joker had a great mail. Throws 3, I think, but just no follow-up. They're able to live because there's so many distractions in the back. Pegapants able to be a good distraction and does have that EMP online right now. We're going to see a 1v1 the Lucio versus the Sombra. Sombra is going to teleport out. So right now, they're probably going to look for an early EMP because although there are a lot of ults online right now from one entity, it's not going to matter if they're all hacked.
Yep, just like that, Pegapants is going to be able to have that EMP online. Existence has the beat as well. The counter possibly the Gravitic Flux, but Extra Sharpie does pick up its bat. The beat could not come out in time. They're going to have 3 ultimates, almost 4 online. Arrowman has the Shatter, the beat, and the window already, as well as Bob and Blizzard. So once again, one entity almost has a complete ultimate economy here. They're definitely up in the ult charge. Extra Sharpie finds Game Boy very early on, and the ping coming through on the Slow from Harrowman is going to force them back. 60 seconds left on the clock. We're almost seeing an entire ult-apocalypse here. We see 10 ultimates online at the moment.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy because it's bad. It's definitely going to use ult. So there's going to be 11 to be used. It's probably going to be the last fight if the attackers can clutch up. This EMP is probably going to come out first. We do see the Lucio hiding, so he's trying to make sure he doesn't get EMP because here it's coming out now. Everything's going to be used.
And a Shatter, and the Nano, and the Gravitic Flux. Slow finds Harrowman. That's going to be big, but is it big enough? 3 ultimates make that 4 ultimates already committed. Another Blizzard comes out from Joker, but again, there's not anybody there to clean up on it. It's bad, puts the pressure on Joker, confirms no kills. Pegapants takes out Extra Sharpie. The beat comes out from Existence to keep the team alive. The only ultimate left, we went from 10 ultimates to literally 1 as Grimhammer held onto that window. 16 seconds left on the clock. They are mere meters away from finishing with time on the clock, but even a little bit of a resistance will prevent them from doing so. 2 eliminations already, but Extra Sharpie looks like they will not be able to quite yet. The point is still being 0.33 meters away. A big Shatter comes out from Slow. He picks up 3. There's 1 second left on the clock, and it looks like they are still going to be forced into overtime. They could not get rid of Joker fast enough. They were 2 seconds away from finishing with time on the clock.
So not a bad attack from Wash, but definitely not kind of the dominance that we've seen from them so far. That beat was just a second late from saving the Rhine. So close, but yet so far. You hate to see it. Unless you're Wash. I'm pretty sure you'll have to see it if you're Wash. But, you know, kind of seems like they took their foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe the break, you know, has them a little bit cold coming into this. Maybe, again, like you said, they're just trying to have a little bit of fun. The Sombra was the winning pick at the end, but how much time did it cost them to build that EMP?
Yeah, it definitely took them a very long time, almost essentially what was a point and a half to farm that EMP. So swapping to the Sombra worked almost for the C9, but then they stuck to it a little bit longer. So definitely didn't work for them in the long run. But it's bad now on the Sombra as well, but they're on defense now. So running Genji Sombra on the defense is going to be an unusual choice within itself.
Yep. Again, I don't think dive defense is very good, but Wash wants to run this, so we'll see if it works out. They do have a very interesting call. Because Bap, you know, kind of really doesn't fit in my opinion. You know, his lamp doesn't really help you if you've got such mobile heroes. His arc for healing kind of makes him a lesser pick to Ana, who they also have. Big Juice, again, as we said, kind of that silent carry, that silent hero, whatever you want to call them. been very good on the honor so far, but let's see if this gamble pays off.
It's really going to be a gamble, like you said, because this could lose them straight away this first engagement. But hopefully, it does work out for them. As we see, Dive is. I have to agree,
Not a good pick here, but I'm sure they're here to prove us wrong and do their best to seriously get some value on this defensive dive coming out from them. But as we see as we see one entity moving into the point, they're going to get an immediate pick onto its bet. Joker now on the Mei. So the attack definitely looking to get a little bit more aggressive. They've got the Mei to wall people in and the McCree as well. Pegapan's currently on the high ground behind them. Nobody's even looked at him. Oh, here we go. They've now turned around to engage with him, but he's got 15% of that blade already, so if he continues to play in that backline, it would be very easy. Now they are all turned around, focus on him, and Slow dropping in, almost getting frozen, gets stunned as well, but is able to jump onto the high ground, but will be dismissed by Joker straight away with an alternate fire in the air. It's bad. Now swapping from the Soma to the Echo, a much more reasonable pick in my opinion. But as we're talking about, the dive defense, just not working out. Just not something you expect to see very often, not something you want to see. That was not a great choice from them. They're not going to swap onto stall heroes already, so they're kind of fumbling one by one. And just when we thought they were going to bring this home in a very easy 4-0, they're kind of crumbling a little bit here.
Yeah, right now they do have the ball on point, so they're going to try to segregate out as well. The lamp going to be thrown in, so that's actually a huge commit. They're not going to have it if they're able to get this flush. They're very close, but that is the first pick onto I Give Up. So here's the Mail coming out as well. So maybe a little bit of utility being used.
Yeah, a lot of bit of utility being used. Extra Sharpie had already picked up a triple, and they still decided to commit that Blizzard from Joker, so kind of a risky thing to do. 5 minutes on the clock now. Existence does take out Joker, going to send him to spawn there, but as we see, our defenders are definitely on the short end of the stick here. They are getting destroyed the same way they've been destroying these previous 3 games.
Yeah, you're gonna see Slow swap off now onto the Ryan, so there is gonna be a Ryan battle. They're gonna keep the Diva. They swap off the Sombra to an Echo, and the Echo is super close to all. I mean, it's bad. Was doing good things, but the question is, can the duplicate get value? Because as we've seen, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and there's such a great ult bait right now from one entity. I don't think this train's gonna stop anytime soon, but Wasp might have something to say about that.
Yeah, and here comes the Gravitic Flux trying to pick up quite a few. It's gonna pick up 3 actually, but Immortality Field, as always, is going to be a little bit bigger. I Give Up is able to take out Pegapants with the High Noon and going to get the D-Mech with the Flashbang. Not something you see very often, but right now the McCree paying off in flying colors as I Give Up takes out the Diva as well. So it's not gonna be a 4v6 engagement. There's 4 minutes on the clock, and right now we've seen one entity come to life. They are rolling through these points.
Yeah, but I mean, there could be a stand held here by Wasp because they do have stuff to work over. Here's the Shatter being used, and it's not going to find anything. Here's maybe a Blade. Yep, a Blade going to be used, but the Nano's on the Diva.
The Nano on the Diva, possibly an unfortunate misclick there. A misfire. Harriman takes out Pegapants as well, so the Blade completely negated. Slow hits a pretty decent Shatter, picks up 2 there, but isn't able to follow up on either of them. Harriman has officially eliminated the Baby Diva and charges in, taking Slow into his own backline. Harriman does get slept moments too late. It's not going to be quite enough. I Give Up takes out Slow with the melee, and just like that, they're going to walk that into second point. They're going to have 5 minutes to push this 1 point.
I mean, those were just 2 big misplays by the supports of Wash, who we've been praising all night. Existence using a swear that, you know, that can be a bit of a funky ult. Sometimes he goes too far forward with the Maywell interaction, but the Nano just completely missing. And again, that can be kind of just the Diva running into it by accident, but those misplays costing them a lot, and DPS ult right now are online for one entity.
Yeah, we're going to see a Blizzard and a High Noon, a very dangerous combo if you can get it large. I Give Up takes out Slow again. We didn't see a McCree all night, but right now it has been huge. I Give Up has found eliminations at the beginning of every single fight on this initial attack here, and right now it's really looking like we're going to go into extra rounds, but they are not going to be very long. With 4.5 minutes still on the clock, they are creeping up to capping this already. Game Boy's going to throw the bomb out window. Oh, bomb's going to pick up Harriman there. He was stunned, so he's going to fall now, and it looks going to be another pick for Pegapants, and what we hear the High Noon come out from Pegapants already has it. That's just incredible within itself. Slow finds Extra Sharpie. They've really got to watch for the C9 here. They are 6 meters away from 4 minutes on the clock for their next attack, so they really need to keep an eye on this card.
Pegapants just held a great angle there, was able to get the flash right on the corner. No one even saw him, and that Diva bomb kill was all they needed to really get back into this. Finally, a fight they've won, but that ult bang for one of these looking pretty good right now. They do have Big Juice's Nano, and so it is kind of close to that Shatter, but if one entity is able to push in aggressively enough, those ults aren't going to matter.
Yeah, the ultimates are really not going to matter here as we see 3 make that almost 5 coming up. We're going to see a 5-man Shatter into Gravitic Flux. Harrowman and Extra Sharpie just guaranteed 3 minutes on the clock for their attack here. That was a complete team kill. Fantastic coordination. Harrowman hitting the Shatter of a lifetime in what would have been this final map, but with 4.5 minutes on the clock, they've pretty much got Rialto in the back.
This looks like a complete flip from what we've seen in the last 3 maps. I mean, One Entity is kind of come alive. Finally, a map pick that's going in their favor. Now, there is going to be attacking time for Wash, 1 minute on the clock, but another minute is going to be added to One Entity. So 4.5 minutes, more time than you even start with. So you got to be feeling pretty good about this if you're One Entity. But, you know, again, they are in match point. So if Wash can have the push of a lifetime, they may still be able to pull out and take this series home.
Yeah, it's quite entertaining to see the one map that Wash doesn't defend first. They end up losing. I mean, as of right now, it's down. They're down, but not out. But to stall 4.5 minutes in their next defense is going to be nearly impossible compared to the attack we just saw against them. So it's really going to be difficult for them here. But it's not over until both those timers say 0. So it's going to be difficult. But they're also not going to go for that attacking dive, and we're not going to see a defending dive either. So we're probably going to see a much different option here. It's about on the Widowmaker. Hopefully going to swap off soon. We haven't seen a great performance tonight from that Widow and possibly go into a much more comfortable hero pick, but it looks like we're going to see a pause here. I'm not completely sure why. Looks like it might be a technical issue.
It looks like we're going to see a technical issue right now on the side of Wash, but while they figured that out, we got a little more time to talk about this. And yeah, they're not going to be running that Mei Sim strategy that we saw. I mean, I've seen that a few times. It rarely ever works, honestly. It really, if you catch the opponent off guard, it can work. But, they work on the complete other side of the map, so definitely doesn't work in that scenario. We're going to see something that's been working a little bit better for them, that Ryan Zarya Pegapants on Genji. But we're going to see, it looks like another forward hold coming out from One Entity. Maybe on the other side. It looks like they're going to be wrapping around right instead of left this time.
Yeah, just complete difference of what they did last time, and that might even be like a long game, is they are trying to run the exact opposite of what they did last time. So maybe it's not something they're trying to do, but maybe they're just, like I said, looking to run a long game here. They're trying to predict what the defenders are going to do, but they're both wrong. They're both running very different things than we saw last time. So this really could end up in either of their favor. But like I said, this is a very almost impossible thing to do. 4.5 minutes on the clock is just going to be so difficult to defend against.
And I mean, yeah, also what's not going against them is if they do this close hold One Entity, even if they lose that first fight, you're just killing so much time off the clock because you're holding right at the cart. A lot of time you just give up that first corner for free because you're trying to play the long game, but here, because you're right there, you're gonna at least take away 30 seconds, which makes it basically a one fight win for you if you can just, save ults and kill that time bank. You can give up a little bit of space. You probably don't want to give up that first point, because then it kind of snowballs into second point a lot of the time, but you can hold it right at that point, right where you cap it. And then you've got 4.5 minutes to work with, but here we are getting back into this, so still 17 seconds before the round starts.
Yeah, these gates going to open up rather soon, but not quite yet. We're going to see, like you said, that high ground rotation around, and they're running the same location as they did with the Sim Maywall strat, but it looks like they're not going to put all their eggs in the same basket here. They might rotate around this off this high ground and get a little bit aggressive on the cart, possibly predicting One Entity to be underneath them once again, but
I think they're expecting the Sim teleporter again, but it's not going to happen.
It looks like they may be, but this time we're seeing One Entity hiding in the hallway, a very common strategy that we used to see on Route 66. They're going to roll out very quickly with a boop coming from Serrated onto Game Boy. That right there could be a match ender for them. The round could already be over. Missing your Zarya in a Ryan Zarya is so unbelievably important. Serrated's going to pick up Flow as well. He's going to get the double boop on both tanks. Takes out both of them. Missing your tanks in a Ryan Zarya comp, and you don't have Ryan Zarya. It's all but over. 30 seconds left on the clock, and those boops may have just secured this win for One Entity.
Yeah, it's not over yet. They did get one pick, I believe, so I think I Give Up is still going to be coming back on this Widow, so it's going to be a 5v6, but no ults online just yet. There is a big anti coming out, and yet that's going to be a fight win right there for Wash.
Just when you thought One Entity was able to keep the point alive, they are now going to fall one by one. Joker now using every single cooldown to try and stay alive, but will be eliminated by Game Boy. I Give Up does find the elimination onto Bats, but now we're in that scenario where you just cannot let go of the cart as the overtime timer is going to tick away insanely fast. Existence committing an immortality field to in between fights, so completely wasting that cooldown. Pegapants gets a little too cocky, gets taken out by Serrated once again, so it's not going to be great. It's missing that Genji, who's only 11% off of Blade, and we know that Blade is what they need. It's been what's kept them alive this entire time. Slow, trying to farm possibly a Shatter as fast as possible, 20% away, but down in the numbers, it's going to be really difficult to do so. If this Genji can return, they're not going to be down quite yet, but Grimhammer pops the window straight away, just trying to make it more difficult. We see Slow with the Shatter. He's going to have to find a huge one if he wants to keep his team alive, but Gravitic Flux does go. Oh, Gravitic Flux literal seconds away from the C9. I Give Up now is going to take out Itfa, and Existence is going to fall. Grimhammer's gone. Here comes the Nano Blade, but now they can't let go of the point. The second they let go of the point, things are going to be impossible. I Give Up is able to find Pegapants, and just like that, that round is going to be over.
Yeah, and that wasn't a flux time, but a little bit of a C9. There was at least one alive there, but slowly falling, so maybe it doesn't count. Then the Nano got onto the Genji, but he wasn't able to blade until after it expired, so the B at the perfect time, able to keep everyone alive. And this is so winnable right now for one entity. Just when you think they're out and gone, they are bringing it back. So 4.5 minutes on the clock. Gonna be very hard for Wash to come away with this map.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's going to be very difficult for them to move in and walk away with a win. But we've seen pretty insane stalls on this before, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them again. But 4.5 minutes in a dream is pretty much all that they can defend against. It's going to be really difficult. Like we say, I really don't want to make it seem like they're completely out, but it's going to be very hard for Wash to come out on top of Rialto here. But if they do, they will be able to take this win home.
Yep, take the series home with them, move on to the grand finals, and you got to keep your eyes on the prize at all times. I'm not sure, if these are set strats, or maybe they wanted to have a little bit more fun. And, in the grand scheme of things, one map isn't the worst thing. It's always great to get the sweep, but, and they can come back and win the next map. I'm sure it'll just be something they laugh about. But if this is the beginning of the turnaround for one entity, Wash are going to be kicking themselves tomorrow. But we're not quite there yet. We're still on Rialto right now. We're still waiting for one entity to take their first map of the series, so let's see if they can do it.
This may be the beginning of a reverse sweep, but this could also be the beginning of a single one map. We see that very often. We saw that in grand finals and other things before, and it's not something that is uncommon, but it could be a reverse sweep, and it could be over right here, right now. The fact that you see Washington giving up any kind of space is a very risky thing to do, is now they're in that scenario where if they lose one team fight, they've lost the map entirely. So now they're really going to have to start putting these kills away with 4 minutes on the clock still. That is a complete time bank for the initial engagement of these fights. But we see a lot of ult charge coming through. Joker still on that Mei, so it seems to be like a bit of a comfort pick, a very effective pick as well. I give up now on the Widowmaker, so things could be huge there as well. The frag potential is available, but not quite there yet. Slow now being walled in by Joker is going to be able to make it out. Already 70% to that Shatter, just trying to find a lot of value here. Not looking great so far for either team really, but it's looking ideally for our attackers as they're getting a lot of free space. And Game Boy is going to pick up Serrated, though. Slow is going to get frozen and shattered after the Nano, so things are going to look good so far. Vegapants is going to pick up I Give Up, and 3 minutes now. There's already a minute and a half off the clock. Just when we thought it was going to be over for Wash, they are definitely not ready to give this up yet.
Slow is so lucky that Game Boy took the charge from him. Slow was meters away from death, I think.
You see the kill feed?
Yeah, but it's starting to turn around a little bit, honestly.
I Give Up had swapped to McCree, so it looked like he had killed Pegapants with a Venom Mine as McCree. Very entertaining to see, just a little kind of bug in the game, but still something very funny. You'd love to see it. I Give Up now on the McCree, so it's going to be probably to stall Slow and stall Pegapants, maybe even Existence, to try to get a little bit more aggressive and stall these early engagements. Slow already halfway to another Shatter, but it's going to get walled in. Blizzard's going to come out from Joker, and that Blizzard right now is going to be massive. We see Big Juice caught out. You know the beat's going to come out from Existence. I Give Up is able to take out Game Boy. Slow now gone as well. Both tanks missing. The Nano Blade is about to be online, but Big Juice is taken out of the fight. Bob's going to fly out from its bad, but the Gravitic Flux is going to pick up both DPS as well. Gravitic Flux online, Blade online, and Nano not far behind, but they are not going to be able to get into the fight quite yet. Existence just dancing on the cart, desperately trying to stall, but the flashbang from I Give Up, swapping to the McCree, has hard carried his team to what could possibly be a victory right here, right now.
They're not on the point.
They completely let go of the point, and that gave Slow the opportunity to move in. They're so kill hungry, they keep forgetting about the point. But we see the beat come out, and it looks like Game Boy has been eliminated already. We see the Blade come out to stall the beat. Blade's going to pick up no value. Their Slow takes out I Give Up, though. This could be the window they needed, as almost all of Wash has now returned to the point. Serrated is able to take out its back. Game Boy swapping out of the D-Buff. Hero Man picking up Existence. They are 4 meters away from taking home their first map of the evening. Slow gets frozen on the cart, but is able to roll away. Less than half health now, but also halfway to that minefield. Game Boy back on the Diva. Pegapants now back as well on the Genji. They're just trying their best, but Grimhammer is going to pick up Pegapants. The sole survivor being Game Boy, going to lose the mech. Existence flying into the point, but being booped back by Serrated. The boop from Serrated almost completely makes it impossible to move in, but 1.52 meters is finally going to tick away. But right now, Existence dancing on the cart. No one's going to be able to make it in time, and it looks like they will finally be able to pick up their first map.
Wow, I thought for a second there that Wash is able to hold that somehow. It looks like, them getting off the cart gave them the perfect opportunity to come in, but that Blade, that fight winner they've had so many times, is not able to find the necessary value, and in the end, one entity able to take their first map of the series, forcing a map 5, now 3-1 in Wash's favor. So not the sweep they were looking for, but still pretty close to match point.
Yeah, their map differential may be hurt a little bit if anybody even cares about map differential, but they are going to moving into yet another map. So, like you said, the 4-0 turns into a 3-1, and we are down but not out. The game is not over quite yet.
Yep, and I think Wash really gave that one away a bit. Honestly, we talked about it a little bit before, but maybe they weren't taking it as seriously. And here we are now. They could have been handshakes all around. Good job, boys. We're going to the grand finals. But I'm not going to take it away from Entity. They looked so much better than they have for most of this series, especially on their defense. And I mean, that offense just. I feel like the comp they had was just better, and it really gave them that advantage. But the fact that they were able to hold that defense for so long, even if they gave up the full cap, no time in the bank, just gave them so much time to work with. Even though they stumbled a little bit on their offense, still had like 2 minutes, I think, when they finally capped on to win the map on their
Yeah, they
overtime.
definitely had. I think it was a little bit under 2 minutes. I think you're correct there. So a really good performance from one entity, like you said. Wash may not have been taking that as serious, but one entity was taking that as serious as ever. They were completely on top of their game. There was great coordination. And we're going to be moving into another control map. So Wash ended up winning that first control map. So I mean, according to the cards and according to what we've seen, they're going to have this one in the bag as well. But if the one entity we just saw on Rialto is going to stick around, this could really be a difficult thing for Wash to win.
Yeah, and I mean, there wasn't their map pick on Lee Jung, and they still rolled through, especially on guards. I mean, Control Center was pretty back and forth. I didn't think they stalled the point out a little bit better than what Entity did, and because they had such a great like time bank to work with, they were able to take it pretty easily from there. We are going to be moving to Nepal, so that's a bit different because I feel like there's a lot more brawl and double shield. Honestly, you don't see a lot of dive on Nepal usually.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be just a free map for both Serrated and Existence. They've both hit massive plays on these Lucios.
Oh
Throughout these
yeah, yeah.
games. They both hit insane boops, and if you're going to hit a boop, I mean, Nepal Sanctum is the place to do it.
I mean, Serrated did so much work on that second defense. Those boops are what held that point for so long on their second defense. So, like, the reason the cart was so close, they didn't have to go so far on their attack because of those boops, honestly, because you have such a spawn advantage when you're in the attack. You're literally right there, So you can easily regroup, but because he had two really nice boops, one entity able to have a really good defense later on, and, he has just been putting in a work so far. Since doing pretty well too. Didn't have as many plays there, but as a team, Wash just didn't do as well in Rialto.
I would say in frag potential, Shredded is much more likely to get massive plays, but in ultimate potential, I think we've seen much better beats come from Existence.
Absolutely, and I think that's just like two different play styles. Sometimes you hear like see the Reddit Lucio where you're kind of going around trying to get those boops, trying to get those frags, and then you got a more maybe passive approach from Existence where he's just trying to exist, keep his team alive, enable his tanks so they can run in, and they're both very like valuable. It just depends on the kind of the style that you're playing as a team.
Absolutely, and speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Our first map is going to be Nepal Sanctum. We're going to see some weird team comps if they stick to these. We're seeing a Sigma Ball on one side and a Sigma Ryan on the other, so it's going to be a double shield versus, I don't even know what to call that, a very unusual team comp. But other than that, we are seeing a lot of mirrors. We're seeing the Ashes on both sides. We're seeing the Baps on both sides. We're seeing the Sigma on both sides. But other than that, oh, there goes the Ash. So we're going to see Itzbat on the Symmetra, but that's most likely just a TP out of spawn. Nepal Sanctum, a notorious map for very aggressive brawl fights, like you said.
But I think the ball's really good here because you can just run people right off the map. And again, we're seeing the Dallas Fuel special come out. I think last time we saw it actually from Wash. So this time, is it? Yeah, it is on Wash. So yeah, this is something they've ran before. So this is something they definitely like to run. The question is, will it get the value? But here's the ball looking to come through.
A very unusual strategy. They rushed around the far right side. We saw that come from one entity when we saw the teleport strat end up coming from Wash as well. We're going to see an engagement on the far side. Not something you see often. They're all in the hallway, so it's definitely difficult for anybody to find boot value here, but we're going to see a very early point engagement from Wash. They're going to get 3-point presence, but that doesn't really mean they're going to get the point for free quite yet as one entity is not that far away. They can really put a lot of pressure on. Slow is able to find Joker in that backline. Immortality fields from Grimhammer now gone as well. Slow takes out Extra Sharpie straight away, so they're now down 3 as Harriman falls. Big Juice is gone. Grimhammer now off the map. Pegapants falls off the map as well. So that was a lot of environmental kills and environmental suicides, but just like that, we're going to see Wash come to life pretty quick.
Yeah, and Serrated's going to get staggered out here, so that's a big loss for them. Maybe that's going to be a lot of time off the clock for one entity. And we saw Slow miss the initial engagement, but because they were able to take point, he was able to run back in and be enough of a distraction. I mean, that's kind of what they need to do sometimes. We are going to see swaps now come up. We're going to see a ball and a tracer coming out. So they're probably going to be running a bit of their own hybrid dive here.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. And like you said, the entire job of a Wrecking Ball is to just be annoying and be busy and be in the face of many of the enemy team. And that's what Slow has been doing perfectly. Already has that minefield online. That might be the first ultimate we're going to see in this game. And the minefield is huge for control points such as this one. Pegapants on the point has no idea that he's about to be completely rushed by the enemy team. There they are, and he's going to get just triple stunned to death. Extra Sharp does end up finding the kill credit for that with the help of Joker. Minefield coming out from Slow in the room, so Immortality Field's going to be gone straight away. And it looks like Grimhammer was able to make it out of the top minefield, kind of put a bit to waste there, so kind of unfortunate to see. But we hear the Hero Man on the Wrecking Ball as well, taking a lot of damage, dropping very, very low. Extra Sharp, he is able to take out its bat, though. 60% of this point already gone. Slow finds Grimhammer, so the main support now missing once again. Serrated doing their best to stay alive and do some damage. Joker trying to stay alive as well, but as teammates fall one by one, Serrated and I Give Up all gone. Hero Man not that far behind either. Just when you think this is going to flip in the favor of one entity, Washed is going to come back to life. They are now in last fight scenario for this map.
You want to guess why? I'll tell you why. Not having point presence. Again, they chase the kills in the backline, and now Pegapants is going to find a big kill. Gonna use the high noon, maybe just to clean up. It's looking very dire for one entity. They only have a little bit more than 10 seconds to touch right now.
The high noon, absolutely insult to injury, just trying to find the elimination onto Serrated. But with Pegapants getting very, very greedy, they could almost touch the point, but with the Gravitic Flex there to stall them as well, taking out Joker and Serrated. Just kidding, no one's going to survive long enough to touch the point other than I Give Up, who's in critical condition, already had to force recall. Overtime timer going to tick away as Bob is now on the point. Window comes out from Grimhammer, but a solo Baptiste cannot do enough with less than a second on the clock. We are now in an official game point for Washed here.
Yeah, again, you know, they're so close to victory, but not quite over that hump just yet. And we see time and time again, Wash just has the superior dive. It looks like they seem very comfortable on running the Status Fuel composition. There's got to be a name for it somewhere, but they're usually the only team I see run it, so I'm just going to call it the Lone Star comp for now. If that's ever used again, my copyright, by the way, I'm filing that later. But we're not going to see any Hammond anymore. We're going to see Brawl once again.
This map notorious for brawl and notorious for balls. So if we come down to the stall potential, we will see a Wrecking Ball come out most likely. The odds of that are pretty high, but right now, Washed, all they have to do is win one more map, and if they can handle this like Nepal Sanctum, it should be a breeze.
Yeah, we're going to see the Sim TP come out, so they are going to touch a lot quicker, it seems. Actually, no. Yeah, they are. Almost thought they were going to get there at the same time, but we saw a little bit of a pause, and that pause might have cost Serrated's life.
The pause is the cause. Pegapants has kissed Serrated goodbye. The Lucio is now missing. Slow dropping into critical health, though, and not really having the support to back him up quite yet. They're getting very aggressive on the point. Harrowman on a lot more ultimate charge than Slow right now, but with constant rotations coming around, I Give Up does miss the flashbang onto its bat on the Tracer, but a double elimination for Wash is going to put them in the first cap, and as the statistics go, whoever caps the point first is much more likely to win the map.
Yeah, and you saw Harriman just kind of take a stutter step there for a second, and that kind of, I don't know what exactly that was. Maybe he was waiting for the rest of his team, but then the Lucio just runs in and Serrated gets taken out. Almost gets taken out again, but they are going to have some also work on both sides. Both people very close to their shatters. Almost have a square online from Grimhammer. Probably have to come out any moment.
A massive anti-nade comes out from Big Juice, hitting 5 of the 6 players of one entity. It's not going to get a lot of value, but that was a lot of ult charge for Big Juice. Joker finds Gameboy with a pretty lucky alternate fire headshot, is able to take him out of the fight. Window coming out from Grimhammer now, trying to force the engagement even further. Its bat has now fallen to I Give Up, and we hear the Nano come out onto Slow, a very risky play, as they are now down 2 heroes.
Yeah, the Shatter coming out.
The Shatter coming out from Slow finds absolutely no one. I Give Up does take out Pegapants once again, so the Nano and the Shatter committed to what is a very lost fight, but at this point they're all about stalling the point, and that includes the beat coming out from Existence. Existence has made it his job to make sure his team can exist in these tight corridors and move forward. It's going to be very difficult, but Grab is only 20% away. Make that 10. Slow does find Extra Sharpie and Harriman, so the very, very long fight is somehow going to end in favor of the Washed here.
Yeah, that square again from Grimhammer, just not very good. Putting it right on the stairs, not the play. I think maybe you put it a little bit farther back so you can do extra healing, or you put it very far forward so you can get extra fire strike damage. But what looks like a one fight and a flip point is now leading to 80% on the point for Wash. They win this fight, they win it all, and they have the grab and pulse bomb online right now. That might be all they need.
A grab pulse combo is an absolute team wipe here. They hit a massive grab, and if they can hit the combo with the pulse, it could be massive, but the pulse doesn't come through, as does Slow picking up a double kill. We hear the high noon come out from I Give Up, but unless it's a full 6, it's not going to do much for his team here. He tries to rotate onto the point and activate that overtime, but he is going to fall to game blue beforehand, and just like that, just after that one map clutch, it is going to end in the favor of the Wash. They are going to take this series home 4-1.
Yeah, and after Rialto, I mean, this is just the icing on the cake, because you didn't do very well in Rialto, and here you just get 200 to zeros. And that's just great gameplay. Again, they seem to be running things that they're good at and they like to do, as opposed to just kind of, trying new things maybe. And new things are nice to try, but a lot of the time it just doesn't seem to work, especially in a game like this. Here they are again, sticking to what they've been good at, and they just rolled through. 4-1, the final score, as Wash took the victory. And I've got to say, Big Juice has my vote for MVP.
Absolutely, things were insane. It was a phenomenal performance from Wash. Rialto definitely didn't look good, but I also don't think they were really giving it their all. So that is going to be it here from us tonight. We witnessed the truth. We witnessed it together. It looks like Wash will be securing their spot in the grand finals. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I am no, I'm not. I'm play-by-play caster Septilence. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at the same name.
Yep, same here. I'm Jag, the colorcaster for this evening, and you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at JagCast. It's been a pleasure. Septilence, take us out.
Thank you so much again, everybody, for watching. This will be Septilence and Jag signing off.